Welcome to the Saints and Alumni Show. I'm your host, C.C. O'Reilly, and happy Friday. Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in to the number one station in all categories, WVCR 88.3 The Saint. Today, we're talking MAC basketball, the MAC tournament. We're going to talk about Atlantic City, unfortunately, but we have some amazing people on the show today. We have Mr. Paul DiLello from the athletics department here on the show, and we also have the Associate Director of Alumni Relations, Mr. Brandon Murphy, class of 2017. Welcome to WVCR, guys. How we doing?
Doing great. About yourself?
Fantastic, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Brandon, are we excited for next month?
All I know is, from the past week of Siena basketball, the energy is picking up around Albany, and we can't wait to get down there and cheer on the Saints.
I love it. Well, here's the thing. We're also 17 days away from the MAC tournament. Okay, so it's going to be creeping up on us pretty quickly, 2 weeks from this Tuesday. And this episode's airing on February 18th. I know we weren't going to get date specific, but a lot of stuff coming up. We have a lot of great things happening. And, Paul, you and I started working together 2 years ago, actually. So a lot of people remember March 2020. And it was we were excited to go to Atlantic City for the first time, put on this entire alumni week, and then everything came to a screeching halt. And we won the championship. That was a great year for us.
Absolutely. And what was devastating about it was the team was playing so well at that time. We had played Manhattan and beat Manhattan relatively easily, and everyone after the game was thinking, oh, my God, this team is starting to gel at the right time. And then, of course, the next day, the rug gets pulled out with us due to COVID, and the rest is history, as I say.
And it was tough for everybody. And Brandon, you were just starting as an assistant director at the time. Kind of in a whirlwind, going from in-person to completely virtual within a few months.
Well, I remember talking with Jake Hill, who used to be here in the alumni office, planning the weekend. Do I got to get a train ticket down there? Do I got to get a hotel to make it down to the semifinals and the championship? Because the team was playing so well. And then the next thing I know, I was getting all these emails, all these phone calls saying, MAC is going to be postponed. March Madness is going to be postponed. So, I've been waiting 2 years for this tournament. I've been waiting 2 years to get down there with fans of Siena basketball. So we're looking forward to it.
That's great. And everybody kind of has a different role in making this tournament come into fruition. And all the MAC schools from Siena to Marist to Niagara, Canisius, all of them, they all play a part in kind of rallying together to make sure it goes off, successfully. And, Paul, you're a big part of that in terms of working with the other schools and meeting. I think it's almost semi-monthly at this point on all the planning that goes into this MAC tournament. Mm-hmm. What can we expect this year from Atlantic City where – before, there was no one ever even heard of a mask mandate when we were first putting this together. Now, is this going to be something that spectators are going to be expecting when they get down there? Are there going to be opportunities for fans that are in the Capital District to get down to Atlantic City? What kind of work are we doing over here?
Great questions, and thanks for the opportunity for allowing me to come on to talk about it. So let's go back and talk about, mandates and stuff like that. We'll follow whatever New Jersey's Department of Health is telling them. It seems as though they are relaxing some of those restrictions. So that's going to be, I think, a sigh of relief for our fans in particular, right? As far as what the schools are doing, there's a MAC activation committee. So each MAC college has a individual or maybe a group of individuals that are on this activation committee, and they're doing everything from building the excitement on their campus to reaching out to alums that are in those areas and trying to attract as many people, friends, alumni that they can, corporate sponsors, things of that nature. So we met actually yesterday on campus here at Siena, and we've got everybody. We've got Brandon and his group. We've got Katie and admissions. We've got everybody's kind of have a piece of it, right? So my major role at this point right now is to coordinate bus transportation, the bus packages with Yankee Trails, who is our corporate sponsor. So they coordinate the hotel accommodations, and then what we're trying to do is figure, okay, we're still 5 games left to go to the season, so anything can happen. But right now, we're tied as of last night. We're in second place, right? So figuring, okay, if you stay there, then, are you going to play this day? You're going to play that day, whatever. So all those things we worked out. And then we're figuring, do we have a long-duration bus trip? So long-duration bus trips would be people will go on the bus, leave from Albany, down there. They're there for as long as the tournament and the Siena teams are playing. Then we're also talking about individuals.
It's going to have to move a little closer to them.
Okay.
So in other words, I want our people listening to be able to hear you.
Sure. So we want to make sure that, even for day trips. So Yankee Trails are working on doing that too. So That way, let's say we make it to the championship, we'd have a day bus trip that would accommodate students who would go that day, any last-minute fans that may not be there that want to come and support the team. So we're working on different packages on doing that, and I'm hoping that I hear from them relatively shortly. But, yeah, that's what the plan is to try to have as many different package plans as we can to attract as many fans as we can.
And that's got to be a ton of coordination, and I know it probably runs until the 11th hour where you finally know what you're going to be doing, because like you said, so many different things can happen with the first place seed. We're in second right now. An unbelievable weekend for the Saints, just coming off of 2 back-to-back wins, especially over Iona. But, now's the time where it's like this MAC tournament for the first time in a long time truly feels like it's anybody's ball game, where in years past, I think you'd agree with me here, we just didn't want to have to go up against Iona because we already knew what happened. We've seen the equation. It's happened to us. We've had our hearts ripped out. Now it's like, okay, we've been through, it's not as if they've beaten us or we've beaten them twice or we haven't faced them as our first time seeing them in the season in the MAC tournament. It's a completely different script this year. And with that being said, I want to thank you for the job you're doing, just making sure that the Siena students and the young alumni can get out there, because the last time I took a trip to a MAC tournament that wasn't in the area was Springfield. And we remember how that one went, and that was a quick trip home too. So it was. I'm hopeful that doesn't happen this year. We've got a great women's team that's going to be there as well, and those women's games starts, I believe, on Tuesday of that week.
Correct.
Yep. So we're gonna have a ton of activities, and what's the best place if people are listening right now? They're like, I really want to make sure I can get on one of these bus deals, or I can follow more information about what's going to be going on. Is it going to be announced on Siena Athletics? Is there a place that people can kind of follow where this information is going to be posted?
Sure. Once the package is finalized, Yankee Trails will send that to us in athletics. We then will be entrusted to communicate that with the entire campus. So
okay, great.
All of our auxiliary groups will know about it. Mike Demos and his team will publicize it, through social media and communications that way. We'll communicate it as well with the newspapers and any other media outlets through Mike, as well as the alumni and admissions and so on. So it will be out there. We'll know what it is. To your earlier point, question is at this point is, okay, well, what day you're going to be playing and what times you're going to be playing, and that's the big question mark. And it literally could come down to our last game we play in Western New York.
I know.
I mean, literally, it could come down to that. Hope it doesn't, but you never know. So once we got those plans finalized, believe me, we already know. We've already talked about it. We spoke about it yesterday in our meeting, how we're going to get that word out. And Siena, traditionally, no matter where we play in Bridgeport, we've played in Buffalo, we've played in Springfield, we've played in Atlantic City, we've played here. Our fans far and away are the best fans. Everybody knows it in the MAC. Even Rick Pitino mentioned it.
Yep.
So we have the best fan base, the most loyal fan base, and the team right now is starting to gel, so I hope I don't jinx them. So
No, I know. And I actually am very lucky enough to travel to New Jersey and Pennsylvania to meet with alumni on the road, and I just got back from Philly last week, and everyone I talked to is going to the MAC tournament. So we're going to have a good Siena presence from the shore of Jersey Shore all the way to Philly, and maybe, I don't even know if people from Pittsburgh are going to make the trip in, but Harrisburg maybe, but we're going to have alumni there, and we encourage people from the Capital District, just because it's in Atlantic City, just because it's a little bit of a trip to get there, and it's not the ideal time of year to be in Atlantic City. Come on out, because there's a rumor on the street it might be coming back to the MVP Arena in the next couple of years. Is that hard for you guys in athletics now? Just because when the name changes, like when it was Knickerbocker forever, now it's the Pepsi Arena, and then it was the Times Union Center. I keep slipping up on MVP. Is that happening?
Do not feel bad.
Okay,
do not feel bad because
doing
I
it.
have botched it myself probably 50 times already. Okay?
It's tough. The talk was easy.
Maybe 100. Maybe I'm being conservative with 50 because you're used to it. You're programmed to think of it as a certain name, and then all of a sudden it changes, and it's very confusing.
I do think the MVP Arena has a better ring to it than the Times Union Center. 'Cause if you're not from the area, you might not even know what the Times Union is. But when it comes to just Atlantic City as a venue, did you make it down 2 years ago?
Yes.
You did. Okay, so I was a day behind you, like a few days behind you. We were supposed to make the trip down, and then all travel got postponed. So when you were kind of down there, when all the teams were down there, what was the environment like? What was the atmosphere like? Because last year there was no spectators allowed.
So we have a hospitality suite that we'll offer at the games. they're a third tier. So you got your bottom tier, and then your second tier up is, I think, the 200 seats. Right above that, they have around the entire rim of the arena, which holds, I think, around 10,000 people. There's a hospitality suite. Every college will have one. That was a great meeting place. So we had munchies and different things like that. So people that came, whether they came on the bus, whether they drove, whether they're from the area, whatever, it didn't matter where they were from. But we kind of encouraged them, hey, stop up during the game, see us before the game. And, we kind of had a way to chat about that. That was a great thing. We're going to do that again this year. Like I said, it sounds like I'm biased, but I'm being honest. We had far and away the best attendance at the game. Our team was really good at that point. We had a lot of fans that were pumped up. And so crowd-wise, you look at the crowd and you'd say, wow, man, Sienna's dominating the crowd that was here. But people who came had a lot of fun. Some of them enjoyed doing other things when there was time off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things. This year in particular, I thought the MAC has done a great job reaching out to a lot of local venues, restaurants, and different places. And if you show your ticket, you get discounts off things for drinks or dinner or whatever. There's probably, and I'll share that with you guys.
I saw that. It was probably like 45
Oh, my God.
places.
It's ridiculous. They did a great job. Matter of fact, I sent them a note and said, hey, you guys really killed it with this. So for fans, if there's a day in between games or whatever, and what they're going to do, this will be a great opportunity for them to take advantage of that.
Oh, well, I can't wait to talk about this a lot more. We actually, unfortunately, are tied to radio timing here, so we got to take a quick break. Can we have you guys hang out in the studio for a couple more minutes?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're listening to the Saints and Alumni Show. We've got Brandon Murphy and Paul DiLello talking MAC tournament, and we're going to tell you what events are coming up in 17 days in Atlantic City for you and all the other alumni out there. You're listening to WVCR 88.3 The Saint. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Saints and Alumni Show. I'm your host, C.C. O'Reilly, class of 2012, and today we are talking MAC championships. If you graduated around the time I did, we had a great time to be on campus, especially with Fran McCaffrey and the three-peat we had here in athletics. And you know what? We're crossing our fingers, and we're hoping for the start of another three-peat starting this year in officially 17 days because it's the MAC tournament in Atlantic City. And today we're joined by Paul DiLello and Brandon Murphy. And guys, thanks again for coming on to WVCR to talk MAC tournament. How we doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having us again, Colin.
Absolutely. And on the first half of the show, we talked about getting you down there. There's going to be plenty of busing options. We're going to get all the marketing necessary out to you so we're going to get you down to the game if you want to go. We're going to tell you all about the tickets and what's going on. But once you're down in Atlantic City, I just had my first trip down there this past summer, and it's tough to say I'm excited to go back, but I'm excited to go back in the winter for basketball to actually see the MAC tournament in this, what I hear is a beautiful arena that's been, magnificently redone. But Brandon, you and I in the development office, we're tasked with putting on some pretty good events.
Yeah, so Colin, we've been lucky with Siena basketball, as Paul was saying, and our fans travel, our fans come out. We've been lucky 2021-2022 season to get down to West Point, get to Holy Cross, get to D.C. to play Georgetown at the Capital One Arena, and our fans show up. And because we know our fans show up, we have all these great pregame receptions where we can gather before the game and kind of reconnect with alumni and fans of Siena basketball that we don't get to see a lot during the winter months. And because of Siena basketball, we get to go out and we get to see them. And because of that, we know we got to have a good pregame. And even if there's a game like the women's game, we don't know what time they may be playing. We don't know what time the men are playing yet. If it's 10 a.m., come hang out with us at the after party down in Jersey and have a good time with us. And we'll get to a lot of those details in a minute.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to be a fluid schedule. A lot of people that attend these games, whether it's in Albany, if it's at Bridgeport Arena, or Springfield, unfortunately, I hope you didn't buy a weekend pass then. But you want to be there for the whole weekend. You want to make it a whole weekend event, especially with the friends that you're going to be meeting from, or hopefully classmates you'll be meeting in that centralized location. But we kind of hinted at it on the first segment, but if you get tickets to the games, there are about 45 different places all throughout the boardwalk that have discounted options. If you would kind of show up for dinner and say, oh, yeah, I'm here for the games, boom, you get a free drink or a discounted meal, and we provide all that information upon sign-up of your tickets. But more importantly, once you're there, Broadway Burger Bar, I think it's officially, we booked them 2 years ago. We're loyal people here at WVCR and Siena College. We called them again. We're like, we'd like to do the exact same thing. They go, you know what? We made it a little easier. We don't charge anything now. Just come down and get the tables yourself. So Brandon and I are going to get the tables each day of the MAC tournament at the Broadway Burger Bar. So I'll be getting down there on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the women's seed and the men's seed. But Brandon, you're going to be coming in on Thursday that week, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to get down there Thursday for the men's and women's games. And right now we have tentative details. If you go to siena.edu/alumni/events, and you scroll
perfect.
down to the bottom, there's a few hyperlinks that fans of Siena basketball can check out. We do have the ticket promo on the website, and we do have the arena linked as well. And Broadway Burger is maybe a 10-minute walk to the arena, and you get to walk along the ocean. So you can't beat it. And we're going to get emails out to alumni, within a 2-hour radius of Atlantic City, and make sure that, they can show up 90 minutes before tip-off and have a beverage and have some food with fans of Siena basketball and just kind of get the energy going because, as Paul was saying in the last segment, nobody in the MAC has better fans than Siena fans. And we want to make sure that they have a spot to meet up, get some posters, get some Siena swag, maybe some rally towels, and show up to the basketball games.
Yeah, and this is an interesting season, I think, because the reason we're down in Atlantic City for this MAC tournament to begin with is because of the newest member of the MAC conference, Monmouth, who is also leaving after this year. So they were the last in, first out, and the whole reason we're down there is because of this fan base, and they're in Southern Jersey, and the one thing that's interesting about them is it's probably one of the last couple of – we might not renew this down in Atlantic City because for the MAC in general, it does not make sense as a centralized location to host it there, especially without Monmouth. So now do you want to be a part of the last possible Atlantic City MAC tournament? I think you do.
And the other way that you can look at it is we bring enough Siena fans down to Atlantic City.
Yes.
The MAC is going to say, we should really have this back here in Albany at the MVP Arena.
Exactly.
That's the way we should be looking at it.
This is like an internship, like you might get hired at the end of the semester, but let's just see how you do in between. So you got to prove it by yelling, screaming, losing your voice. It took me 3 days to get my voice back after that Iona game. So I really hope that everyone has that same problem during the MAC tournament because I remember going to that Springfield game, and when you don't have the crowd support, if you are a fan there, it is a different vibe. It is watching your team without you seeing all the students. And the one thing I think a lot of people would say about that home game against Iona, the fans came.
No question about it. I mean, we had, student attendance was the highest we had all year.
Yes.
We had over 6,000 people. There was a lot of excitement with the T-shirts for Gold Rush Night and the rally towels, but there was a tremendous amount of pre-work that was done. Pep rallies, Coach Carm came up and Coach Jim came up. And then, you're giving out Dunkin' Donut gift cards and a bunch of other things to get the students, and that was key. The other thing you were talking about, and I agree with you 100%, is I've been to each of the locations, not so much as even a college employee, but as a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the knock or the worry amongst the MAC schools is that when they play at our arena, we have a home court advantage. Interestingly, if you were to look at our record as a team in the MAC championships, when we play in our local arena, it's not that we win every game. We don't win every year, okay? So I always kind of cringe when I hear people say home court advantage. Yeah, it's our home court, but that doesn't necessarily mean we win the championship every year there. Plus, from a MAC perspective, this is the one location that makes a profit whenever it's here.
Yeah.
Okay? So especially if Siena does well, the crowds are much bigger. You don't have that anywhere else. The MAC schools also like the fact that it's equidistant for most of the schools.
There's no advantage in that sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I hope I do. I have no, obviously no power in the decision making, but I really hope that they'll come to their wits and say, you know what, let's bring it back to Albany again.
Yeah, and we're going to obviously wait and see how that goes, but I think the remodeling of the MVP arena and all the additional things around the city center as well really gives a lot of nods back to Albany. Things that weren't complete or weren't finished by the time that it was starting down in Atlantic City. So with that being said, we're going to make sure that we obviously get all this information out to you. Athletics is going to be posting all over their Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but so will development as well. And, I'll just apologize to everybody out there right now for all the emails we're going to send you because we're going to invite you to Broadway Burger Bar. You're going to get to know these people, and they don't even know us. So let's make sure they know us because we travel well, Siena College. So the other downside, too, is when people say, yeah, it's a home court advantage when Siena gets to host the MAC tournament. Well, let's go win on the road. Let's show them it's not a home court advantage. We don't need the home court. That's ultimately what I'm hopeful for this Atlantic City trip because I can't fathom a reason for us to be there next year. I really can't. So let's hope that we obviously can win the last time we're here.
And there's a lot of great things to do around Albany as well. We talk a lot about the alumni trips and we talk a lot about the fans around Atlantic City, But we also have, for anybody listening that has current students here or maybe looking to come to Siena, there's going to be a lot to do around campus, around the Albany area. For students, there's going to be watch parties in Casey's for both the women's and the men's games each day.
Buses for the students going out.
Buses for the
there
students
were
going
for
down to
Ohio
the games.
State.
Right.
These things, they travel. So, we're really looking forward to hosting the Siena community, the friends and alumni of Siena College out in Atlantic City. And most importantly, Brandon, when we're there, we're also going to be giving out signs, T-shirts. We're going to steal a bunch of T-shirts from admissions just to give away.
Because we're not just going down for the women's and basketball teams, but our pep band's going down there as well. And during the pep band rally competition, we got to show up to that as well. And we're going to need some signs and some rally towels to root those teams on as well, and the cheerleaders and the dance teams when they're competing all week long.
Exactly. It's a MAC competition when it's all said and done. Whose fans travel the best? And I'm just going to put it out there. No offense to Niagara or Canisius. It's not going to be them. That's a very long trip for them from Western New York. And I love Buffalo, so that's saying a lot. But I think we're going to have a really good test. I think the end of the season is going to be very interesting how we're placed. But let's just all keep our fingers crossed and pray we don't have to go through Iona again. Maybe someone else knocks them out, and then we can just hopefully be in the final. And Coach Jaber, doing great. He's having a great year. I'm excited to see how the women do as well.
And I think, that's where the excitement is, because you never really know. Look at us. Last year we were the number 1 seed, right? We were winning that game. Coach Patino at Iona calls a timeout, I think around 8 or 9 minutes ago. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like we lost our offensive mojo, and they went on a run, and boom, the rest is history, right? You never know what's going to happen. So I would think right now Iona's going to end up being the number 1 seed. I don't see anybody knocking them off. But right now, as of this morning, we're number 2. So if we can stay there, it's going to be a fun weekend. It really is. That's going to be a great tournament. Women, even though the record, you might say, geez, they're struggling, but they had 5 wins in a row at one time. They can do the same thing. They just have to do what they need to do to get that same kind of momentum back. And listen, they played Fairfield, who was a top team in the league, right? They beat them here, and they never had a lead. Fairfield never had a lead the entire game. They were undefeated coming into Loudonville, lost, and we played them there this past weekend, only lost by 6. So this is the top team in the league, okay? So you're looking, where are you? You're number 7. They're number 1. Look at how one game you beat them, the next game you came very close to beating them. So anything can happen.
The whole regular season is about just getting that comfortability, getting that gel down.
Absolutely.
And then just gelling in the MAC tournament when it matters most. And that's why everybody makes the MAC tournament. It's just a matter of where you're seated. So, Brandon, Paul, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. Unfortunately, we have to cut the show short. So we'll obviously have to have you back on right around the MAC tournament as well. We'll replay this a few times, but we'll get you guys on for some other interviews as well.
Well, thanks so much for having us, Colin. We can't wait to see everybody around the Capital Region for game watches and down in Atlantic City as well.
Go Saints!
Love it. And that's the Saints and Alumni show here on WVCR. And as always, if you've had half as much fun listening to this show as I've had doing it, well, then I've had twice as much fun doing the show as you've had listening. You're listening to 88.3 The Station, where we play anything. Go Saints.